Many women will act a certain way and wait until they get married to show their inner feminism. What warning signs should men look out for beneath the surface?
There are a lot of them.
All right, final chat from, here's a long time missing decent question asker.
Hey, decent question asker. Yeah. I thought you killed a guy.
Might have. Might have done it in Minneapolis. He was out on bail.
You're going to need to lay low for a while.
And he said, I got a decent question for you. Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight? Right, go ahead.
All right, here we go. Morning, pretty faces. Thank you, Billy. Many women will act a certain way and wait until they get married to show their inner feminism. What warning signs should men look out for beneath the surface?
There are a lot of them. And by the way, there are a lot of them for women with men too. That's the vetting process. Really, all that's needed to destroy a family, all that's needed to destroy a unit is selfishness. Selfishness or being dictated by emotion. You see that at large with the country. So if this is someone whose life has largely been self-focused and it seems like they have a very tough time adjusting that focus, that's a big red flag, and that manifests in many ways. Or being dictated or having their life dictated by emotion. They feel, therefore they act, because there will be a point where they don't feel the love from you, where they don't feel like things are going. That will happen. That will happen in any relationship. Just like you don't feel like going to work, right? You hear people say this all the time. Marriage is work. You know, a family is work. I agree. Then why would you treat it like anything other than work? Especially if it's so valuable, right? A holy covenant, a relationship, the wonder of life. Why would you give it less of your energy and effort than you do your job? Think about that for a second. We see that with those videos out there. It's like, well, and they did this, and then he's resting. And I want him to, well, hold on a second. If he's a primary breadwinner, assuming this in some of those relationships, and you say it's a stay-at-home mom, and by the way, it is. It's a very important job, being a wife and a homemaker. Let's use that umbrella term, homemaker, because that means being a wife first and obviously being a mom second as Christians. Then why wouldn't you treat it like a job? You don't get to, at your job, say, I'm tired, so someone else do it. Especially not if there's someone else in your office who's in an entirely different department. That man is in an entirely different department. He goes to an office and he has to, or he goes to a construction site, or he goes to an oil rig, or he goes to, I know that for all of their flaws, a lot of these people we watch in the morning, they're up at 3:30 in the morning. I know I used to have to do that shift. They're up, they're doing that job, come rain or shine, hell or high water, because they have to. Why they have to do that job if they want any yield? In that case, the yield is income. Well, the yield in your relationship will be a meaningful relationship, will be a fruitful household and a legacy with children. But you don't get that yield if you don't put in the work. And so someone who is dictated by emotion, let me ask you this. Would you, if you're running a business, would you tolerate an employee doing it with attitude and someone who reviles you in tone and no. Well, then you have to do it with a cheerful spirit. That's a big part of making a home. Does this person keep their word? If someone says they'll meet a deadline, do they? Or they lose their job? Yes. Well, they have to do that at home. You have to treat it like a job. What does that mean? That means you have to do what you say you're going to do. You have to stay the course even when you don't want to. You have to get up, get dressed, take your shower, go to the office, and do it regardless of how you feel. That's how you have to treat your relationship. That's how you have to treat parenting. Or, just like losing your job, you will lose that position. Now take all of that and then apply divorce laws. And it screws it all up. It screws it all up. There would be no businesses if someone couldn't hire somebody, and then if they didn't show up to work, if they didn't do their job, as a matter of fact, if they were disrupting the workplace, they were making it worse, you couldn't fire them. You could only fire them if you were willing to lose half of your company instantly. I know people saying, are you saying that the man is the boss? Yes. in the household. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not the next highest position in that company. He's the president, you're the vice president. He's the king, you're the queen. Input, counsel, matters. But ultimately, there is one final say, one leader, and that's what you want, especially if you claim to be a traditional conservative woman. So the biggest red flags, because they all stem from that. Blatant disrespect or unreliability or flakiness, that comes from being dictated by emotion, or it comes from being self-focused. And I know, we all know that, right? Same thing with guys, with friends. You sort of put distance between yourself and a male friend if they can't be counted on. They can maybe be someone you'll be friendly with, but if they are somebody who you can't trust or rely upon, they're typically not in your close circle of friends. Why would we not apply that to meaningful relationships? By the way, you need to apply that as a woman too. But here's the thing. We see men doing that anyway, and then we see men being at risk of losing if they're not putting in overtime that wasn't agreed to. Well, now you're home from the job and you want to rest? That wasn't the agreement. None of this applies if you're both working and you divide that up. But that's not what we're talking about. And it still does apply spiritually, even in that case, if not pragmatically, spiritually, emotionally, that one person has to dictate the pace. And that's why women, you choose the man who you want to follow. And men, you choose the woman who you think will most likely, most respectfully, and certainly most importantly, in the most godly manner, follow. You do. It's as simple as this. You have to pick the relationship. People say DTR, define the relationship. Okay. Do you want to lead or do you want to follow? There will be someone, one person. If it's a family of 8, there will be a leader. And the rest are going to be followers. They can be very valuable followers. They can be generals in the army. Patton was a follower. He still had someone above him telling, this is what you're going to have to do. You can be Patton. We have to decide, do you want to be a leader or do you want to be a follower? If the woman wants to be a leader, she wants to lead the household and wants you to follow, that's a no. Then if she says, I want to follow, then you need to see that in all facets. And you need to be a leader worthy of following, to be clear. But I know you've been hit with all of this, right? Men are constantly hit with this. We're always told, well, you need to lead right. What happened to the masculine men? You know that. We're not told or taught, hey, how do you be a good follower? You want a strong man who leads? How do you show that you are going to follow well? Otherwise, you will forever be pulling in different directions, doomed to failure, dominated by what Gerald said, self-doubt. Because I tell you what, the only thing that causes a woman to split faster than an iron-fisted ruler, which you shouldn't be, is a hesitant one, is a leader with no confidence in his ability to lead. That dries ladies up faster than the Sahara Desert. But you're always going to find those instances where before you get there, everyone wants to stick their oar in. Got to figure out, okay, this is how I'd be a good leader. There are books written on that. Most self-help books. Leadership skills, how to win friends and influence people. But if you've determined that you're a follower in the relationship because you want someone else to lead, you want that cup to pass from you, well, where do you go to find out how to be a good follower? It's tough. And since most of those places don't exist, you're going to have to listen to the leader. That's how it works in any other unit. It's how it works in any other workplace. And so if a relationship, if a marriage takes work, if being a parent takes hard work, then treat it with the same respect that you would your work. YouTube's is something you're not allowed to say according to the guidelines. I was quoting the guidelines. I'm glad you're still here. It means you watched this video all the way through. Oh, it says here that Rumble, where you can go follow my channel, lets you say pretty much anything, provided it's not illegal. That reminds me of, what does it remind me of? Oh yeah, YouTube. pre-2015. Go on and follow me there. I'm live, 11 a.m. Eastern, weekdays. Don't call YouTube a. Oh, it's just a different way of saying it's.